Senator Joel Villanueva, sisibakin na ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla. Totoo ba ito? Yan yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Grabe to. Matindi to. At eto no, yung mga ebidensya sa DPWH. Wala na. Paano? Wala na. Ayop na yan. Talagang gumawa ng paraan para masunog yung mga ebidensya. Ang galing! Palakpakan! Lupit, no? Samantalang ito nga breaking news po at kakapasok lang Ombudsman to ask Senator to enforce 2016 dismissal order. Mukhang tinatrabaho na ni Boying Remulla. Etong si Senator Villanueva. At syempre, bago doon tayo mapunta, i-like and share nyo muna itong video at may papanorin tayo, may babasahin dito tayo. Pasok! Sabi ni Senator Senador, isa sa mga tuta ni Romualdez. Sabi niya, Senado, handa na sa impeachment ni Vice President Sara Duterte kung babawiin ng Korte Suprema ang naunahang desisyones. Ready na. How much? Dito, Sen, how much? Nubo pa rin ako. Handang-handa na, preparado na ba kayo? Oo, kaya nga inuunti-unti na yung mga senador ngayon eh. Oo, at ito po pala, idagdag na rin pala natin dito itong mga senador na apat na senador na tumanggap daw ng donation galing sa mga kontraktor. Ayan, ay idudugtong natin dito yan. Tito Sen, ready na sa impeachment. Gigil na gigil sa impeachment. Sabi niya, tinalo nyo kami ha? Tinalo nyo kami. Ngayon, impeach ka sa akin. Ito ba isa? 130 million mansyon inilipat ni Romualdez sa halagang 58 million. Tangina. 58 million ba to o 58 pesos? 58 pesos, ang lupit ah. Sa isang kahinahinala at maaaring ituring na Paudonel conversion ayon sa ilang US lawyers, lumabas na inilipat ni ex-Speaker Martin Romualdez ang kanyang 130.5 milyong pesos, $2.24 million ari-arian sa ano tong dober ba to? Bisa nga ang balita ko, ayusin mo yung pagsusulat mo. Hindi ko makita eh. Putangin na, ang laki naman paano nagawa yun? Bagay, no? Pag mapera ka talaga, walang imposible eh. Giruin mo. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga katulad niyan, yung mga insertion ng mga senador, yung ibang pinaghihinalaan natin na malaki ang mga bank account, ay pwede palang gawin tong ginawa ni Martin Romualdez, no? Ang na 58 pesos lang, ang galing ah. Iba din talaga pag kupal ka talaga eh, no? Eto naman. Sabi dito ni Marcos Jr., patuloy tayo sa paglilinis ng hanay ng pamahalaan upang matiyak na ang bawat opisyal, bawat lingkod bayan ay karapat-dapat sa tiwalang ibinibigay sa kanila ng taong bayan. Yan ang sabi ni Marcos Jr. At ito naman ang banat at rebat ni Attorney Guanzon, BBM, hanggat hindi mo binabayaran ang 200 bilyong na utang mong state tax sa Republika ng Pilipinas, walang maniniwala sa'yo. Magnanakaw ka rin. Uy! Utang Sa pool. Napangahan. Ngiwi na naman ang panga ni Marcos nito. Tangina, sa pool siya kaya Puta na, may utang pala to. 200 billion. Tungina, lupit niya. Tangina, ano gagawin niyo sa pera? Gagawin niyo, ano ba yan? Bakit ba kayo nakaw ng nakaw? Gagawa ba kayo ng hagdan papuntang langit? Yun ba yung project nyo? Ha? Putang na. Kasi nakaw kayo ng nakaw. Tangin na, kinabukasan, baka sa susunod na araw, mamatay din kayo. O yung mga corrupt na congressman dyan, tangin na, nakaw kayo ng nakaw, baka bukas o mamaya, tegi ka na. Hindi mo madadala sa langit yan. Kahit sa impyerno, hindi. Mga nga si Satanas, lumayas dun eh. Bad trip na sa inyo, sa sobrang kahayupan nyo. Tangina yun, ang daming So ito po, panoorin po natin itong, ngayon lang po in-upload ito, 1 hour ago. Itong, basahin natin yung title. Remulla to try to enforce now Ombudsman dismissal order versus Joel Villanueva. So panoorin natin.
You mentioned Senator Joel Villanueva. I want to ask you, because the Ombudsman at one point ordered the dismissal of Senator Joel Villanueva, which was never acted upon. He's now implicated in a similar controversy. First, what happens to the old order, and what happens now to new issues against him?
Karen, that order was given by former Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales in 2015, when Sonny Belmonte was still Speaker of the House. And later on, the same order was given to the Senate President in 2016, and then nothing came out of it. And I think that it is one of the things that the Supreme Court will have to decide eventually. What is the real power of the Ombudsman to dismiss people who fall under the House and under the Senate? Does the Senate have, or does the Senate leadership have an obligation to listen and enforce the orders of the Ombudsman within its system? Because that is the issue here. This office was created by the Constitution. It's a constitutional office, but it cannot be less important than the rules of the Senate or the rules of the House. So at the time, the Speaker didn't dismiss him, and the Senate allowed him to sit down as a senator, even though he was already dismissed and disqualified from public service. This has to come to a head, and we are relying on the judiciary to come up with a pronouncement on this matter. Sinasabi ko nga, when I try to go after with these cases, I will always seek out the advice of the judiciary, because they're half the legal system that we have. Sila talaga yung dapat nagsasabi na ito ang dapat gawin dyan, o dapat dyan dalhin nyo sa COMELEC kung sasabihin nila para hindi na yan makaupo. But they have to lay down guidelines in this matter. They're not perfect. The judiciary is not perfect. But at least we have a working judiciary that can decide controversies of this magnitude.
If I were to ask you, what do you believe is the power of the Ombudsman under the Constitution? Halimbawa, meron kayong inutos. It doesn't have to be Senator Villanueva. Kailangan ma-dismiss, nakaupong senador. What do you believe kung ano ang tama? Kasi paano nga yun? Halimbawa, ayaw...
dapat yan that should be enforceable immediately by a letter containing the decision given to the Senate President. And the Senate President should be the one to enforce it. That is the only way to do it. And then of course,
I guess the person...
We will try it now.
Yes.
We will try to enforce it now. We will write a letter to the Ombudsman, to the Senate President, ask him to enforce a letter that was supposed to have been sent long ago, and ask him now to enforce that order, because that is the way it works. They have to respect we have to respect each other here. We respect their rules. We respect the way that they conduct business. We respect the independence of the Senate. But the design of the government is that the Ombudsman is there to protect the people. And we all are there to serve the people. So it has to come to a head sooner or later.
Okay, I want to make this clear because you're announcing something new today. Are you saying that you will write to Senate President Tito Soto, I guess, is it today or within the week, to immediately enforce?
I will try to have it done today so I can deliver it to him tomorrow when I go to the Senate, because we have a budget hearing at the Senate. It's something that has to be decided between men and between institutions. And it has to be for the good of the people. What is the meaning of this office if people will just ignore the orders of this office?
So you will write a letter today
Yes.
to enforce the
I will
old
hand carry it to the Senate President tomorrow.
Pero let me just say, the old dismissal order of Conchita Carpio Morales against Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yes, I will do it, Karen. Because it has to be done. It is the only incident lacking for the court to decide. So there's a justiciable controversy. We have to create it. We cannot just stand there and be a bystander. We have to be the active participants to trigger a response from the court.
Okay. All right. Now, you may have the Senate once again acting as a body protecting their own. What would you do when it repeats itself?
Well, we will go to court. We will go to the Supreme Court. It is really meant to go to the Supreme Court if they do not obey. And chances are they will not obey. Because it's a collegial body that decides only on political matters when it comes to decisions like this. So it has to become a justiciable controversy for the court to decide. So if they refuse to do it or it's not enforced, the vote is not gotten, then we will ask the courts about how the hell do we enforce an order from the Ombudsman when it's final in the executory? Or even when it's not final in the executory, but because it contains a grave offense, you're found guilty of a grave offense, I think that it's our duty to enforce it.
Oo. May tanong lang ako, Ombudsman, no? Nung panahon ba ni Conchita Carpio Morales, when they ordered the dismissal, did they also send it to the Senate President, the letter, and outright the Senate just ignored it or declined to act on it? Yun ba ang nangyari?
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
I have to go into that again. I actually have to talk to Conchita, to Justice Morales, so that we can. I will have a background.
Yeah.
I will need that background. I will need that even before we file a case in court in the Supreme Court for the enforcement of this. We will just need her advice also.
But I find that quite interesting that you have a very strong point. The only way for the Supreme Court to act on it is to create the judicial controversy.
Yes,
and then
we lawyers call it a justiciable controversy. A justiciable controversy.
Justiciable controversy.
Yes.
All right.
In
Okay.
legal parlance.
Now, other than that, I want to ask you is Senator Amy Marcos. I just want to ask you, because what do you believe motivates her opposition to your appointment as ombudsman? What is the reason?
Her politics. She's playing to the crowd. She's playing to the DDS. She wants to be loved by the DDS. And they're weaponizing their position to vilify my reputation. And to even spread fake news. What fake news? That there was a kidnapping? If that's a kidnapping, the ICC will not accept President Duterte in their fold. Nothing illegal has been declared by the Supreme Court after all these months, 7 months. And I think...
Tayo na, anong fake news doon? Kagaguhan mo, kupal. Pag fake news na naman. Hindi nyo nga dinaan sa korte yun eh. Natural na magiging kidnapping yun, tanga. Bobo.
That this thing has to stop. Let the courts decide. Let the justice system roll properly, so that we know liabilities, how the liabilities will be treated by the ICC, because it's there already. Nothing can be done about it.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the office, ito no, even before you came in as ombudsman, the office actually faces criticism on backlogs, digitalization delays. Of course, we talked about allegations of midnight appointments already, but be specific on the reforms so that you can reinstate institutional integrity and transparency in the office of the ombudsman.
Well, digitization is actually a must. Karen, I was speaking to the Deputy Ombudsman, and the one from Mindanao was present. Mr. Law was present, Andy Law. And we told them how long does it take to transmit an order or at least a document coming from Mindanao. And he says, we have to personally carry it there.
Oh.
There's no digital instrument being used right now because, well, if I have it right, even the courts have accepted digital solutions already, and we already have e-filing. And then scanners are abound. We have scanners that can scan documents and make them, you just certify them as duplicate originals, and it can be done. But that's not been done. And that's why it's something that's so urgent. Digitization is so urgent because it is also a way to check on abuses. Yung aging ng documents will always be evident when you have a digital system. Wala pang digital system that will age the documents properly. So magkakadukay ka manually. And the space that it's taking up, the paper that's taking up the space in the office really is horrendous. We have to hire warehouses for it. We can hire the warehouses, but we will have to digitize all of these files. So institutionally, we will have a history of all the filings within the Office of the Ombudsman.
But then there are so many global companies that already do this.
Yes, I know.
Is it part of your budget?
Not yet, but we have savings. For special projects like this, I think we can utilize savings. We will just inform the DBM about the use of savings for this purpose. But it's something that we consider very urgent. And the deadline is yesterday, Karen, as I always say.
If I were to ask you just offhand, because you've just been there 2 weeks, correct? Are you just at 2 weeks or 1 week?
2 weeks today. Today is the second week.
Okay.
Because I was there Friday last week. So this is our 14th day.
Okay. If I were to ask you, and this is just offhand, what are the most high-profile backlogs that you have in the Ombudsman's office?
Family is one of them.
Family?
It's major. I think it's major because the impunity didn't stop after that. I think that family was a symbol of impunity, that people are not afraid to get caught.
Yeah.
Yun eh. That's one of the most high-profile cases that I can think of. Joel Villanueva is a backlog that has to be cleared. Sabi ko, that's the elephant in the room. It's something that has to be resolved by the people, by the Supreme Court later on, if the Senate will not bow to the order of the Ombudsman in enforcing a valid order. Because if there's no TRO, there's no restraining order, or there's no, the court does not tell us that we cannot do it, then it is presumed valid. It's presumed to be a valid act of Ombudsman Conchita Carpio-Morales.
Now, alam ko may nag-file ulit ng kaso ng reklamo regarding Tarlac officials.
Yes.
Hapon lang yun. Right?
Yes.
So, ano ang estilo po ninyo? How would you do it? All of this at
Ano
the
na yan?
same
Nasa evaluation
time?
na yan. That's already in the evaluation stage.
Okay.
And the moment that they find probable, just not probable cause, but they find that there is a room for investigating it further, then we will go to the fact finding and then go to preliminary investigation. It can be a quick one, Karen. We just have to validate the authenticity of the documents filed as evidence.
Okay, because I'll read essentially what I think you've raised concerns on. Problems of inordinate delay. For example, complaint evaluation. You want to reduce the period from 72 hours to 48 hours.
Yes.
Is that actually feasible with the
It
staff?
is feasible because it's just a document, Karen, that you have to evaluate.
Okay.
Why should it take more than 72 hours? Then let them answer that question.
Pero kaya mo ibaba ng 48? That would be 2 days.
2 days. Dapat pwede na evaluate yan in 2 days.
Okay.
Yes.
Oo. Okay, so 2 days. And nasabi mo na nga, yung fact-finding, you wanna
Fact-finding,
limit it
yes.
to 6.
Tapos bandang uli, wala na naman yan. Yan na naman ang mahirap sa'yo. Puro ka dakdak na hayop ka. Ayan sige, tingnan natin.
Ang fact-finding, Karen, normally, yan ang tinatawag namin sa DOJ na case build-up.
Oo.
That's when the graph investigator, prosecution officer, will go into the nitty-gritty of the case file and try to gather the proper evidence. So we will get the affidavits there. When the affidavits are complete and there's other evidence that can hold up in court, then we go to preliminary investigation. And the PI. There are some PIs that took, like Farmally, took a long time, 4 years to be fired. And it was only filed when I was about to enter the office. It was filed after the retirement of Ombudsman Martinez.
Yeah.
So we just have to make things work faster. There should be a sense of urgency here, Karen.
Okay. Kasi yung preliminary investigation, it was allowable 1 year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you want it
Yes.
down to 60 days?
Yes, 60 days should be possible. It should be possible to do it in 60 days.
Okay, all right. Now, very quickly, okay, the review of the Farmally case, the review of the charges, you're starting now. How many days are you giving the office?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And after 2 weeks, ano
Then
palagay mo?
because the cases are still being withdrawn now from it's not instant, Karen. I had to sign another document yesterday for the withdrawal of the cases. I thought that I signed one already. Then there's one more that I had to sign yesterday. The moment that the cases are withdrawn from the Ombudsman completely, from the Sandigan Bayan, then 2 weeks should be enough to look at the evidence that we have. That's presuming that all the evidence is intact.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the Senate and the lower house have proposed bills institutionalizing the ICI and giving it more power. Pero when I spoke with former Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales, technically, trabaho na daw yun ng Ombudsman.
Exactly, Karen.
Oh,
That's
yun
what
sabi
we
niya
do.
moto proprio at
Yes,
makapangyarihan na ang Ombudsman.
Yes. Well, the ICI will be doing its thing for the next 3 weeks to 1 month, I think.
Oo.
After which it will be wrapping up already. Then everything will be left to the Ombudsman already.
Oo. Kasi the concern is it will be, in a way, it will be duplicative of your work.
It's possible, Karen, but the fact that I stepped in almost 2 weeks ago, and the ICI was already investigating cases, it made things easier for us. It's making things easier for us. I really appreciate the effort the ICI is putting in because it's something that the system needs. Kaya nga, even crowdsourcing is one of the things we want to do when it comes to lifestyle checks.
Utang na, nagtutulo na yung laway ni Remulla kakadaldal, oh. Alam nyo, isa din to sa kaabang-abang. No? Isa din to sa kaabang-abang si Boying Remulla na mga inaabangan natin pagdating sa mga susunod na mga kabanata ng buhay nito. At lalong-lalo na kapag nakaupo na ulit or nakasampa na ang mga Duterte, isa to sa kakaabangan natin. Maraming kakaharapin na kaso to kahit ombudsman pa siya. At ang masahal pa dyan, baka matanggal pa yan biglang ombudsman. Hindi ko lang alam kung may kapangyarihan ng presidente na tanggalin ng ombudsman, no? Siguro meron, no? Kasi kaya may karapatan nga silang maglagay. So may karapatan din siguro sila magtanggal. Antayin na lang natin yon. Karma-karma din yan.
Because all the help that we can use, from the ICI to neighbors, nosy neighbors, we will entertain it as long as it helps us pursue our cases.
Oo, alam nyo, do you think, frankly speaking, kasi when I interviewed Rogelio Singson, he said 3 lang sila doon, right?
Yes.
Eh, hindi naman sila talagang, hindi lahat sila ay investigador, hindi ganun ang training nila.
Yes.
Frankly speaking, do you believe that the ombudsman or a representative of the ombudsman's office should be sitting in the ICI?
Actually, we have one already.
Meron na.
Yes.
Oo. To
We have one
observe.
already.
To observe.
To observe. Yes,
Oo.
yes.
Okay.
And then we gave them. I was not yet in the ombudsman's office when I was still in DOJ. We made sure that the PAO gave them lawyers who will help them process all the information and buttress their legal theory. So
Okay.
it's something that had to be done when I was still in the DOJ.
All right. Now, there's a question here that came in. The possible charges against former Senate President Francis Cheese Escudero. So one of the accusations is Escudero receiving 30 million pesos from a contractor as a campaign donation, right? And he claims it is personal. There are other politicians that the PCIJ has found out have also received donations from contractors. Apparently, contractors pala talaga ang nagdo-donate ng cash, no, kapag kampanya. What happens then? Paano po ito, Ombudsman?
It's more of a common issue, Karen.
Okay.
Only when there is already an allegation of criminal intent will the ombudsman step in. So let the COMELEC decide it first, because that actually is tantamount to disqualification of from office, and that's an election offense that cannot be ignored. So even natin sa COMELEC yan, and let the ombudsman do its job if it has to later on.
Okay. You know,
Wala pala akong boses. Eh di ba, yun nga, mamaya papakita ko sa inyo yung interview kay Chairman George Garcia. Mapatungkol. May 4 na daw na senador na tukoy na daw siya na tumanggap daw ng tumanggap daw ng donasyon. So sino-sino ba 'yon? Hinala ko dito syempre yung mga supporters ng mga Duterte yan. Sige, mamaya papakita ko sa inyo.
I'm curious, no, because Senator Panfilo Lacson has said the original sin really starts from the insertions, right? Nag-iba-iba ang pangalan. How far and what can the ombudsman cover really? Kasi kahit sa Senado, may listahang lumabas of alleged insertions. Diba? Nakita niyo yun. Billion din doon.
Yes.
Sa lower house, si Toby Tiangco, sinabing billion sa ilang. How far can the ombudsman go when there are
Actually, hindi man sa insertion, Karen . Kasi ang alam ko dyan, the planning officer of the DPWH then sent a text message to Tito Soto asking him if he wanted anything in the budget. Which means that that budget had not yet been submitted to Congress at the time.
Wala,
So,
hindi pa buo ang NEP.
Hindi pa buo yung NEP.
Yes.
Yun yan. So, it happens even before that.
Yeah.
Mayroon mga tao na nagbo-broker. Meron ng conspiracy angle yan. So, we just have to roll with the punches and dig up more evidence against people who are abusing the system.
Okay. Wait, one last question. You're no longer with the DOJ, but I think I want to ask you this. It became controversial. Is the Witness Protection Program, right?
Yes.
Restitution. Restitution is often seen as a precondition of the WPP, but not yung pagbalik ng pera, yung ninakaw. Hindi nakasaad daw yun sa batas. What other alternatives or legal mechanisms are there, right, for the state to recover stolen public funds?
Karen, nasa civil code yan. Nasa civil code yan na ill-gotten wealth or accidentally procured wealth has to be returned. These are what you call the natural obligations that we have, but it is enshrined in the civil code. There are many laws supporting the fact that ill-gotten wealth should be returned. Hindi lang naman yan sa Witness Protection Act. In the Witness Protection Act, we have a memorandum of agreement that we can enter into. And it also says in the Witness Protection Act that we will draw up the rules for the admission of witnesses. And then restitution is one of them, Karen. It's just a natural obligation that has to happen. Ang mamamayan natin, pag dinakaw mo na cellphone, Karen, tinawagan ka ng pulis, sasabihin sa'yo ng pulis, nahanap na, nahuli na yung magnanakaw. Punta ka sa presinto. Pagpunta mo ron, ang tatanungin mo, nasaan ang telepono ko? Pag nakuha mo yung telepono mo, gusto mo pa magdemanda o hindi na? Do you still want to be bothered or not? Isn't that how people feel about it? I think that it's something that everybody in this country thinks to be the right thing is to return ill-gotten wealth. Yun naman yun eh. Ibalik ang nakaw. I think it's a basic postulate of good governance.
Yeah. Actually, you made a really good example there about the cell phone.
Yes, exactly.
Ganun talaga in daily life.
Yes.
Oo, pag maghirap ka, presinto ka kagad, di ba? Ibalik mo. Oo, bakit iba kapag malaki ang ninakaw?
Exactly, di ba?
Oo.
Dapat isoli talaga yan. Alam mo, Karen, pagka napanis yung kaso, sa bandang dulo, wala ka na makukuha. Mauubos lahat yan pag hindi mo kinuha yan.
Dapat sinasabi mo sa boss mo yan.
Pag hindi mo pinabalik. I-freeze na nga natin, kaya nga fini-freeze natin yan eh. Asset preservation is one of the means to do it for the final judgment. But if you can recover it earlier, so much the better.
All right. On that note, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything
Ito naman yung kay Chairman George Garcia. Etong kanyang pahayag sa mga senador daw.
Apat sa mga nakaupong senador ngayon na ang tumanggap ng donasyon mula sa mga kontratista ayon mismo sa COMELEC. At sa unang ipinatawag na si Senator Francis Cheese Escudero, ilalabas na raw ang resulta ng investigasyon dito sa susunod na linggo. Ang detalye sa agenda report ni Joash Malimban.
Anim na senatorial candidates ang tumanggap ng donasyon mula sa mga kontratista noong nakaraang 2025 elections. Apat dito ang nanalo. Yan ang kinumpirma ng COMELEC ngayong araw sa pinakahuling update ng kanilang isinasagawang investigasyon. Ayon kay COMELEC Chairman George Garcia, nasa 26 contractors na ang kasalukuyang nasa listahan ng poll body na nadiskubre nilang nag-donate sa mga komandidato noong nakaraang halalan. Bawal ito sa ilalim ng Section 95C ng Omnibus Election Code.
6 na kandidato for the Senate, dalawang kandidato for the party list, 3 kandidato for the congressional candidates sa district, at pagkatapos isang national political party, at merong kandidato for governors.
Ayon kay Chairman Garcia, target nilang matapos ang listahan sa darating na Biyernes para muling makapag-send ng certification request mula sa DPWH. Kinakailangan kasi nila ng formal confirmation mula sa ahensya na ang mga kontratistang nasa kanilang listahan kumukubra ng kontrata mula sa pamahalaan. Paraan daw ito para maging matibay ang election offense na posible nilang ihain laban sa mga kontraktor na nag-donate at mga kandidatong tumanggap ng donasyon. Ang parusang kadikit, 1 hanggang 6 na taong pagkakakulong at perpetual disqualification from holding office. Halos 2 buwan na mula nang isumite ng COMELEC ang kanilang first request sa DPWH, pero hindi pa rin ito ibinibigay ng ahensya hanggang sa ngayon.
Kinakailangan po matibay yung ating kaso o matibay yung mga ebidensya na ating po makakalap, sapagkat remember po, ito ay kasong kriminal. At sa kasong kriminal, ibang klaseng ebidensya po kasi ang required. Yung evidence of guilt beyond reasonable doubt. At hindi pa pwede po na mababaw ng mga ebidensya at kung kaya madidismiss na lang.
Samantala, sinabi naman ni Chairman Garcia na posible na maglabas ng resolusyon ng poll body sa susunod na linggo. Kaugnay ng investigasyon kay Senator Cheese Escudero at kay Lawrence Lubiano ng Centerways Construction and Development. 30 million pesos ang campaign donation ni Lubiano kay Escudero noong 2022 para sa agenda.
No, 'di ba? So, ganyan yung tinututukan ngayon ng yan ang tinututukan ni Chairman George Garcia ngayon. At ni ni Remulla na pabagsakin ng mga senador para mabawasan ng sakit nila sa ulo para matuluyan ng ma-impeach si Vice President Sara Duterte. O, ito pa isa, yung pagsunog ng ebidensya ng DPWH. Ito, panoorin nyo.
And Standards is the main bureau that conducts the research for new materials and that would undergo pilot studies. And then they also have the materials testing division where you've seen earlier where the fire possibly started. They train our materials engineers that would be deployed to the field. And then we have there the testing laboratories, the accreditation. And then we have the standards development division. So there we have the blue book, if we are all familiar with this. Andito lahat ng mga pay item standards of the department. So they are a repository of all the standards of all types of materials used in the department for construction. So I'll go through a quick rundown of the documents that were affected. We have mainly manuals. We have the ASTM references, ACI, JICA manuals, design guidelines, and all the standard specification of pay items. For the Technical Services Division, we have calibration reports, 2022 onwards, all our documents, soil and rock classification reports, technical specification certification, material sources reports, field testing reports, procurement documents, inventory reports, training-related documents, and the pilot research projects. We have also in the Materials Testing Division, the training certificates, training materials for material testing technology and laboratory technician courses, star rating reports for regional and district materials testing laboratories, the quality management system compliance documents, requests and reports for inspection of testing laboratories and batching plants, requests and reports for technical evaluation of laboratory equipment, recent various correspondence related to the various functions of the Materials Testing Division, calibration reports of Materials Testing Division equipment, and other personal files of the employees of the Materials Testing Division. We have reports that all of these are scanned and 100% backed up in our online and physical drive.
Ayan, may naman daw sila, may mga backup naman daw. Pero putay na, grabe, no? Para lang para lang sa mga ibigso talagang kek. Alam mo yun, tipong kayang-kaya nilang pumatay, kayang-kaya nilang sunugin, kayang-kaya nilang burahin lahat, basta wag lang silang mapahamak. Ang tindi. Ibang klase talaga tong mga ngayon. Pero pati yung sa DPWH, no? Marami naman nagsasabi ng mga netizen na na tawag dito na ayun nga, maraming sasabi mga netizen na ito ay yung pagkasunog ng DPWH building ay sinadya. Ewan ko, bahala na. Magkakamatay din yung mga yan. So yan mga banateros, mga kabiyaya, pong may kukomento nyo dito sa mga napanood natin at na-reaksyonan dito sa interview ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla kay Karen Davila at dito sa pahayag ni Chairman George Garcia mapatungkol sa 4 na senador at dito sa pagkasunog ng mga dokumento ng DPWH. So i-comment nyo lang po dyan sa baba at ating babasahin yan at paki-like and share ang video na ito at syempre damay nyo na rin po mga kasamahan ko sila Banat by Contextual, Boss DADA, Master JUDEA, Pareng ARJay, Sir Jack at syempre yung aking YouTube channel at syempre pakidamay na rin mga tropa natin dyan, PH Update and Don Mar TV. So yun, maraming salamat. Ingat po kayo palagi. God bless and peace and bye-bye.
Yan ang banateros, walang inuurungan. Pag tama palakpakan, pag mali ay babanatan. Yan ang banateros, boses ng ordinaryong Pilipino.